What's up, everybody? It's D's Roy. Got a reaction. Okay, we react about a couple days ago when you have Christianities against Muslims, and I want to go. There's about multiple clips, and I had about over 1,000 for it. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. That was nice, man. We have some people show right there in the comments. It's nothing but respect and everything. And this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a second one. We're gonna watch another clip with it. Now there's multiple of them, so I'm gonna watch this one. Now it's interesting to see both sides, you know. So hey, let's keep going into it and let's just do it. All right. Now, whatever, if anybody believes, you believe, man. Just believe with faith and 100%, and don't go 50-50 about your beliefs right there. You have to just be 100% about it. All right. So let's go. Let's go straight.
Brother Rashid, what's your biggest criticism of, because you were a Muslim before and you converted, what was your biggest reasoning for doing so?
My biggest reasoning, and I want to comment on a point that I forgot to comment last time. Our brother, he said the 5% of Islam we're focusing on.
Right.
If you have this glass of water and you have 95 for it is water, but 5% is poison, it's going to kill you. So this is exactly what we have with Islam. Yes, you can talk about God, you can talk about worshiping, but how about violence against people like me? How about violence against Christians and Jews? You are ordered to wage war against them. That's what happened to my ancestors in Morocco. Berbers, they were Christians, they were executed, they were enslaved. That's what happened to people in Egypt, in Iraq, in Syria, and even in Europe. How about that?
Yeah.
How about people who, for example, against women, Islam against women?
And
women,
we should note that they endorsed the death penalty for apostasy right here.
Yeah.
So it's not like
let me just finish.
As does Jesus Christ.
And against women, women should be beaten if they disobey their husbands. My mom was beaten, my imam dad. When I asked him why, he said, it's in the Quran. You cannot object to that. They cannot object to it. It's in the Quran. It should be applied. It's a permission for men to beat his wife.
Just to ask for real. So he just came over, just beat him just because he can. I mean, just to ask. Like, I mean, I'm saying you shouldn't beat somebody, but I'm just saying, though, it just came from nowhere. Just seeing your mom and just beat him up. I don't know, bro. You know what I mean? Let's go. Let's go.
It's the word of Allah himself. Again, when I studied the life of Muhammad, in 10 years, he waged 83 wars in 10 years, 27 wars and 56 raids in 10 years. And you are going to teach me that Islam is peaceful? No, it's not peaceful. Are you going to give a Nobel Prize for somebody who waged 83 wars? No, you will not.
83?
And another thing, Muhammad is not a role model. Jesus is. Muhammad, he had many wives, 11 of them. One of them, she was 9 years old. He was 53. I am 50. I cannot marry a girl that has 9 years old. You cannot. That's abuse.
Damn, 9?
And Muhammad did that.
Can we do one?
Damn, 9 years old? That is young, man. Young.
One issue at a time.
Let me finish this.
Because I always thought, I heard something like that Mohammed, he got married to somebody that was 12 or something like that, but 9? Dang, my sister is 8 years old, bro. That's 1 year, that's like a year difference. That's way too young, man. Damn.
Raided a Jewish tribe. He killed the whole family of a newly bride called Safiya. And he took her as a wife the same time he was returning to Medina. Would you put that as a role model for me today in the 21st century? He had another wife called Rihanna. My daughter, her name is Rihanna. I named her specifically for that. He took a Jewish wife, Rihanna, and he did sex with her.
Damn.
Not with her will. He did against their wills. all these ladies. Are you going to put him as a role model? You cannot compare Jesus with Muhammad. Jesus never killed a person. He never killed an apostate. He never waged a war. So he was a role model for me. That's why I loved Muhammad and I wanted to follow Jesus. They are going to keep trying, bring the Old Testament. Name one person that Jesus killed because he was an apostate. Judas, he gave him to the Jews, and he never ordered his disciples to kill him. I have people who just criticized Muhammad once, and he ordered his disciples to go and kill him, even lying. His name is Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf. He's a Jewish guy. They killed him. They lied to him. They took him and they killed him. He even encouraged a guy who was blind. He killed his wife. She had 2 kids, and he killed her. He came to the prayer and he said, Muhammad praised the guy for killing his own wife just because she criticized Muhammad. So these are the rules that they want to apply today. If we criticize Muhammad, we should be killed. Like what happened with Charlie Hebdo. Do you think those people, they just killed the people who drew the caricature for Muhammad just because like that? No, because it's written in Islam that they should kill people who criticize Muhammad. So Islam is a big problem. Even the 5% can kill whole humanity.
Can I have a response?
Sure,
I haven't
please
spoken
go
in a
for it,
while.
Jake.
Man, it's interesting. Let's go. Let's see what the other side right there from the Muslim side. So let's go.
I want to comment on what he said and also Robert's remark about us endorsing the punishment for apostasy. Yes, we do. Why? Because our claim is that we are actually faithful to our scriptures. You guys are not. You want to avoid the Old Testament, and I want to give you an analogy, Patrick, because you're a business guy. You have many businesses.
I mean, we talking about the Old Testament and the New Testament. Old, new. Oh, let's keep going. Let's go. My bad.
Okay.
Let's go.
And
My bad.
you
Let's
have
go.
policies that you have to put in place based on social interaction in the workplace and all that kind of stuff. Now, you may make amendments to those policies based on new data, new information, how things are actually going based on those things that you put in place. Now, when you do, right, and this is the analogy between the Old Testament and the New Testament, are you willing to say that, well, yeah, thinking to myself, yeah, Pat, yeah, you were wrong, actually, when you said it was okay to do such and such. That was actually wrong, and you then put in the correct one. With the Bible, the problem that you have is the same one that you want to talk about, the loving Jesus Christ himself, which we also adore and respect as a prophet, is the same one that you believe is God and revealed the Old Testament. And you can't get out of that. So when your God, Jesus, revealed at that specific time, as I just read the passage, and I can read you plenty more, where he says to kill babies in war. Is it okay to target infants in war and kill babies? Is that inherently immoral? The problem that you have is if you go on, and this is why the argument is so important. It's not a tu quoque just as a fallacious argument. It's checking for your consistency as a Christian, whether or not you're actually faithful to your own text and tradition. And the reality is you're not. Why? You have 2 options. If you condemn it as inherently immoral, then the whole Bible's gone. Because if you believe that those verses in the Bible were revealed by God, then you're saying that God is immoral. And on the other hand, if you say that it's not inherently immoral, but God changed the law at this time, then most of your arguments lose the force that they have against Islam, because you can no longer argue that it is inherently immoral to punish an apostate by death and all of the other things that you want to tack on. This is why it's so important. It's not a fallacious argument, and the reality is we want to stick to our text and our tradition, and for the most part, we would argue that the Christians have abandoned them in favor of secular, liberal, moral ideologies.
Let me have.
When you go into it, though, I mean, good. Both sides, they're saying what they want to because they're very passionate. They're doing their side, but what I'm thinking about Jesus, and he goes right there into what they're talking about right now. It's just that there was something that he was saying it wasn't right for some things they're saying. That's why it wasn't perfect. it wasn't right the way they're talking and all these rules. It was too much. Like, why do you have to do that? You don't have to. That's one thing that I think that's what it was. So let's keep going, man. Let's go.
Daniel,
So let's
respond,
go.
and then I'll come to you. Go for it.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things that we need to respond to because he's just listing every grievance that he has against Islam.
Right.
We have to take it step by step. But just on this point of violence, I think Jake makes really the crucial point. It's that Jesus, according to the Christian belief, Jesus is the God of the Old Testament. And he's the one who's commanding Moses, for example, to ethnically cleanse the Canaanites or the Amalekites or all of these other tribes and to conduct conquest and war, to take girls as slaves, to take virgins as slaves. This is in the Old Testament, sure. So Christians have to deal with that moral problem. A lot of Christians, unfortunately...
Well, wait, he's saying that Jesus, because, he's God, he's the Son of God, so he's God, but the Son of God... And he's trying to say that he's the one that's going from the Old Testament, but it's more that Jesus is him, God. But the thing is, I'm just kind of what he's saying though. I think he's saying that so he doesn't know about. I don't know, man. That he's like basically he's thinking about. He's not thinking about it. He's just seeing it like, nah, it's not the right how it's supposed to be because he got born and just seeing everything else. It wasn't the way how it wasn't perfect. So let's keep going, man. So it's just interesting both of them are saying
throw the Bible
though.
under the bus. And, how is that justified? But it's not just the Old Testament. It's also the New Testament. The New Testament also endorses slavery. The New Testament also has the book of Revelation where Jesus is going to come, which, by the way, Muslims also believe that Jesus is the Messiah. He is the born of the Virgin Mary, and he's going to come as the Messiah to establish God's kingdom on earth. Muslims also accept and believe that, and we're anticipating that. But he's going to be very violent. It's going to be a very violent affair, and that's in the Muslim tradition and the Hadith, and it's also in the book of Revelation. So Jesus is also very violent. And then finally, you have canon law. You have the church tradition. So if Robert wants to denounce canon law, because when you have canon law, it has slavery, it has a marriage age of 12 years old in canon law, it has punishments for blasphemy, it has even striking the wife, the disobedient wife. That's found in canon law from Gratian. So I believe that Robert is an Orthodox Christian. If he wants to denounce canon law and denounce his own tradition, he can denounce that. He can denounce Jesus himself. He can denounce the Old Testament. He can denounce the Bible. The New Testament, that's fine. That's fine. He says that, our religion adapts, our religion changes. But that's actually the problem, Patrick. When we're talking about wokeism, when we're talking about if you can say that, that's the Old Testament is for those times, it's not applicable now, right? That's the argument. The violence, the killing of blasphemers, that's for old times. We've changed, but Muslims are not willing to change. I say, yeah, Muslims are willing to stand by revelation. The problem with a lot of Christians, not all Christians, a lot of Christians, Jews, Hindus, they all have these practices in their books. Buddhists, they all have these practices, and they're pressured to change and update. And so if you can get rid of the conquest and the violence and the punishment for apostasy, why not just get rid of the prohibition of cross-dressing, the prohibition of homosexuality, the prohibition of drag queens? Why prohibit any of that? Maybe times are different. Maybe we need to adopt drag queen story hour in our church. We need to adopt, all of these woke practices. Why not?
So if you like this clip and you
I'm not cool with that kind of stuff with that if they do that right there, but they're really pushing that kind of stuff with that. You seen one thing that I seen that not too long ago. I just seen the clip right there with the Pope. He's saying, "Oh, it's cool right there from gay people and stuff. It's all good." But if you really think about it, if you think what God and Jesus and stuff. I would say God, and the books, man to man, woman to woman. So yeah. But anyways, man, that was very interesting. Both sides right there saying this side, that side. But I just want to ask though, so them twos on that side, they are Muslims, right? Born Muslims, and it looks like the other side, they're not born Muslims, so they're probably switching to Muslims now. So they're probably white on. Just asking, they look white. I'm just asking, but it's all religion. This and this, you could be black, white, purple, green, yellow, brown, whatever it is though. But anyways, hit me in the comments. Tell me what you think about this, man. What do you believe that side with the guy? He's the one on the first one when he's talking about from Mohammed, or the other side with these people right there that's talking about that the New Testament of all this new generations, that they're not really going with the scriptures no more, and that's why they're going with it. So hey man, give me the comment, man. Love it. All right, peace.